Luna crashed and burned $32 billion. But the question is, now what? What is the fallout from all that? Today we're going to find out. We're going to talk about what happened to Do Kwon, where all that Bitcoin they owned went, and I'm going to finally answer the question, is Luna coming back? No. Sorry, that's the answer. No, no, no. Stop dumping money into this piece of trash Ponzi. Sorry about that, guys. Still a little salty about this one. Anyways, let's jump into Luna Armageddon.
We have sort of something called a protocol Armageddon at the company. So what protocol Armageddon is that's a kill switch. So whenever we feel like we're no longer in a position to be able to best serve the community, we pull the trigger and 24 hours we're gone. We burn all of our assets, we cut all of our ties, and it's nothing.
Hey, you probably thought I was clickbaiting you with this title, didn't you? Be honest, all right? No, actually, the founder of Luna literally said he had an Armageddon protocol. This guy knew this ship was going down. He planned for it. He bragged about those plans. And as more and more clips are just coming out, it turns out the warning signs have sort of always been there. People just ignored it because they were making money. And that in of itself should scare you because it might remind you of something if you're paying attention.
UST! 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 UST!
All right, guys, now I feel like the BitConnect guys. So
BitConnect 2.0, that's the Luna story. And obviously with hindsight, BitConnect was so clear. But watching the Luna disaster, it's much easier to see why people were fooled. And you can see Luna influencers still trying to spin it one way or the other. Oh, it crashed because the big banks wanted us to fail, or it crashed because of the haters. No, the founder of Luna knew this thing was going to collapse, and he said publicly it was destined to go to zero.
it's a cycle of life. You begin from nothing and go back to nothing. And that's exactly where I want to be. So I think Terra is going to be the decentralized money standard across the entire blockchain, across all the blockchains. And I'm excited for Terraform Labs to contribute a significant portion of that early vision, but eventually to go back to nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Excited.
So yeah, Do Kwon is trash, and the people defending him are either bag holders or also trash. And if you're not convinced at this point that this guy is a grade A scammer, I just want to show you his other failed algo stablecoin Basis Cash, which he helped create according to CoinDesk. Now, this is how he talked about his own project back when no one knew he was a part of it. Quote, while DeFi degens are busy trapping retail in zero-sum games in Basis Cash, and then another coin called Empty Set Squad. Now, right there, take the screenshot, upscale it to 4K. That's all the proof you need. This guy literally called his own project a trap for retail investors and a zero-sum game. And this is why when Do Kwon is later going to apologize, I have no time for it. I'm not interested. He wants to save his own skin, and it's too little too late. Now, we've already learned a lot about Do Kwon, so now we're going to pivot to talk about Luna, because since we last reported, the Luna coin has kept falling in value. It is now worth less than a penny, which probably has upset the degenerate gamblers who have predictably been throwing money at it, hoping for 1,000x gains by buying at the bottom. And like many degenerate gamblers, most of these traders don't understand that things can always get worse. They also don't understand math, many of them. Because this person says, easy 4 million if Luna reaches $1. But because Luna has hyperinflated to 6.5 trillion Luna, compared to only 300 million 10 days ago, if Luna were to hit $1, it would be worth 5 times more than the entire global crypto markets. It's not going to happen. Now, on the other hand, many Luna investors aren't delusional. They're just angry. So angry, in fact, that one of them decided to allegedly break into Do Kwon's house in South Korea, which obviously is disgusting, and I don't endorse a vigilante justice in any of this. But what I can endorse, and do endorse, is a different group of investors who unfriended their buddy after he got them to put their life savings into Luna. He says, quote, my friends who I recommended Luna to all hate me now, which I think is a fair exchange for life savings. Now, in response to this guy losing friends, the UK government decided that they were going to finally step in and regulate stablecoins. Actually, that's probably not right, but let's pretend it is for the sake of this segue. A Treasury spokesman for the Queen said in a statement, "The government has been clear that certain stablecoins are not suitable for payment purposes, as they share characteristics with unbacked crypto assets," clearly targeting the Luna coin here. But I think the broader lesson is just that algorithmic stablecoins don't work. They're like a perpetual energy machine, or SNL being funny in 2022. It's a nice idea, but it just doesn't work in practice. But of course, that won't stop them from trying. And Luna and Do Kwon are busy trying to save themselves in a last-ditch effort. This started with Do Kwon apologizing for, quote, "the pain his invention has brought upon all of you." Now, as I said earlier, I think this apology is basically worth as much as Luna is right now, which is worthless. But the real news is what Do Kwon said next. He proposed a recovery plan for the Terra ecosystem. He calls it the Terra Ecosystem Revival Plan 2. Now, like the rest of Do Kwon's ideas, it's kind of terrible. In fact, I don't think you could think of a worse proposal. Basically, I'll explain it. The idea is to fork the Terra blockchain into a new chain called Terra, and they're going to rename the old chain to Terra Classic. What's new? Well, not much. It's the same old Terra, except this time without stablecoins, which is weird because the whole purpose of Terra was stablecoins, and that's their business model. I mean, look, you don't even have to take my word for it. Just listen to their first YouTube video.
Terra is a price-stable cryptocurrency that is pegged to several of the world's major fiat currencies, such as the USD, the Korean won, the CNY, the GBP, and most notably the IMF SDR. So the goal is to connect all of these stable currencies with the e-commerce and retail payment network, such that you can break down the barriers of international commerce.
I mean, that's their whole shtick. Stablecoins. Terra and their coin Luna without stablecoins is nonsensical. It doesn't even make sense. And they say that the reason they're trying to save it is this, quote, "The Terra ecosystem and its community are worth preserving. Terra's app ecosystem contains hundreds of developers, Terra Station has a large install base, and although distressed, strong brand recognition and a name that almost everyone in the world will have heard about." Now, while it's great and all that everyone's heard of you, the reason everyone's heard of you is because you fell apart. Luna has become the poster child for crypto Ponzi's going bust, and that's not exactly going to inspire confidence, no matter how much you tell yourself all publicity is good publicity. As for the developer front, the reason so many people wanted to work on Terra is because there was so much money coming in. Billions of dollars, in fact. Developers aren't charity workers. They're not going to just stay on a project that's hopelessly lost its way and deviated from its core promise, stablecoins. So forgive me if I'm a little skeptical. It's like if Theranos said they're ditching the whole blood testing thing to become a Steve Jobs lookalike merch company. It's just not going to work. And if I sound like I'm being critical, I want to say a lot of other people think this plan is also equally a disaster. In fact, the CEO of Binance tweeted SMH and said, "This won't work. Forking doesn't give the new fork any value. That's wishful thinking." And finally, he brings up a super important question. He says, "Where is all the Bitcoin that was supposed to be used as reserves?" And this is a really important question. I mean, the whole reason Luna was supposed to be unbreakable and you could have confidence in it was this 80,000 Bitcoin they bought that they were going to defend the peg with. And so later, Luna Foundation Guard actually posted that update and they said, well, they spent it. It's gone. 80,000 Bitcoin down the drain trying to buy UST, all in vain. Now, I should say Terra was accused of bailing out crypto whales with this money in a post by the New Money Review. But LFG denies insiders were bought out. And since no real proof has come out either way, I'm going to withhold judgment until I get more evidence. That's what I said when BlackRock and Citadel were accused with no evidence. And that's what I'm going to say now when Luna is accused of market manipulation with, frankly, not enough evidence. We just don't know yet. And at the same time, it also kind of doesn't matter. Either way, Luna doesn't really have any money left. And that's why it puts them in a weird position when they claim they want to help small investors and compensate them. They say this in a tweet, but given that they've spent the vast majority of their money, it's a bit like offering someone a ride when you're out of gas. Still, the crypto community is very enthusiastic about a bailout. And I have to say, I find it kind of ironic, people rediscovering why basic financial regulation exists in the first place. I mean, Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, called for, quote, coordinated sympathy for the average UST smallholder in the form of a bailout. And then he cited American federal FDIC insurance as precedent, which is just like, this is federally backed programs created by Congress. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't be anti-centralization when it suits you, and then the moment everything goes south, be like, yo, but that bailout though. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very pro crypto regulation, but it's just kind of amusing watching people rediscover things that already have existed. Anyways, that's basically what I wanted to talk about. Pump the stock, and thanks for watching.